So after that huge build-up of hype, I am now dropping the bombshell that we are going to be ranking a D-rated class, which is Legendary Hero and the Dark Legendary Hero. They're both exactly the same, just slightly different armor variants. The recommended enhancements for this class is in fact Fighter, however I am ignoring that for this video and running Luck, you'll be pleased to know. I have got animations turned on, but this class doesn't really have any, so it appears, and there's also no real set combo. It's basically the same as Continuum that we looked at the other day. It's just a case of building up those stacks and hitting the nuke on number 5. But let's talk about this class's abilities. So standard auto attack for number 1, then we've got Starstruck, which is a short range attack. It targets one enemy and it lowers the enemy's haste by 15% and adds a legendary stack. Then you've got Lead the Charge, long range up to 6 friendly targets, increases your hit chance by 10% and your damage by 25% for 12 seconds. Stolen Thunder, short range, 1 target, high damage and reduces enemies' crit chance, lowers their damage output by 25% for 15 seconds. And then we've got Legacy Crater, which is an infinite range, 6 hostile targets, and it unleashes all your legendary stacks. It's a powerful nuke strike and also applies a heal. The more stacks you have, of course, the more power you're going to be dealing. The passives are as follows: you increase your strength by 15%, you also reduce your damage taken by 15%, and then rarely you have the chance to increase strength, dexterity, intelligence, wisdom and luck by 100% for yourself and your allies. So this really is sort of a support soloing class. I definitely would call it a hybrid between those two because it has got quite good elements. If this wasn't such an old class, so for soloing I've given it a C-, purely based on the potential it could have if this class got reworked. If this got reworked, this could easily be an A tier class. Despite it not appearing like it on the surface of things, you could actually solo the Overlord. It gets to this stage, you get to about 500, and somehow I did a really good nuke attack and I have not been able to do it again. I have no idea how. I didn't have max stacks at this point, and there you are, 40,000 damage. Now, bearing in mind, this class is really underpowered because of how old it is. Just imagine if they could scale up, it'd literally be like a chrono. But nevertheless, I was struggling and ended up dying on that run. So I went along, grabbed Health Fam, using me dual unarmed of course, and thought let's bring up the Battle Analyzer and see what the stats actually look like. They're not that great, it does get a bit better. I think at this point where I started critting quite well, I probably got that 100% of everything passive unlock. And if I really wanted to spend lots of time on this, I would have soloed this guy, but it would easily have taken around 12 to 15 minutes to do. So the main reason I was doing this was to see how much damage you do on max stacks, and apparently that is the nuke, 1618. So this class, I'm really not too sure how that last mechanic properly works, because you get max stacks and it's supposed to do good damage, so either I'm just getting really unlucky or it's just a really temperamental class, which is probably the more likely one. I thought it was worth just going along just to show you guys it in farming. Obviously it's going to get D-, the lowest score I can give. I did debate getting the E ratings out, I haven't done that probably for like ever, but I think it goes without saying this is not a farming class. It's not its purpose. It just had that multi-hitting skill on 5, so I thought, you know what, let's just see how it does. And for the first couple enemies, it was alright. PvP follows a similar theme. It gets a D-. This class is just far too weak to go into PvP with. If you come up against a no class, you might be alright. I was also about to say Sentinel then, but then I thought, you know what, you can do quite high damage with that in PvP due to how the class works. Did however think it would be appropriate to leave you with a small PvP compilation of Legendary Hero. Now let's talk about support. I've given it a D+, which could be on the harsh side. It could just have slipped into the C's, potentially. And the reason I say potentially is because I can't really gather how good this actually is at supporting the rest of your team. It's really hard on the abilities it has on skill free, which, let's be honest, isn't really very much. I mean, a 25% damage increase is nice for certain fights. I guess ones like the Warden, that could help, but I think it's more of a hindrance because I couldn't run something like Stone Crusher, obviously top tier support, and we would have absolutely blitzed this guy even easier. But having said that, we did manage it, and you know what, if I did get that rank 10 passive unlocking for the 100% boost for the team, that definitely would have been a nice little thing. So to summarise, overall this class has got a rank D, support was a D+, solo was a C-, farm was a D-, and PvP was also a D-. Having said all that, I don't hate this class. I do actually quite like it. It's got nice art. If the abilities were tweaked ever so slightly, maybe they would become a lot more useful in many situations. And not to mention, this is a really really old school one. You can tell by the cooldowns, you can tell by the writing, heck, even the skills are old school. But you know what? All it would take is just a little rework on this class and it could easily get up into that A tier bracket. I do think it would be a great support / solo hybrid one. That's clearly the kind of range it's in. It's probably more on the support side, I'd say. You mustn't forget that Legendary Hero is the reward for upgrading your account for the first time. It doesn't matter how much membership you buy, you're going to get this class, so it deserves something. I know you could literally just get a 1 month package and then it's not that good, so you want it to be top tier, but it definitely needs to be better than a D class. So I have my fingers crossed that this one could have a rework one day at some time in the future. Thank you all very much for watching. Leave the video a like and of course subscribe, and I'll see you all again next time incredibly soon. Until then, have a lovely day.